Hello everybody, RegiTime here with the third and final part of our morning Unibet 25 NL trilogy. If you haven't watched the first two videos, probably go back and watch the first two, because I'll be referring back to things I've said in the first two in this video, so probably best to watch them in chronological order. And yeah, we just played some 25 NL, they playing some general weak, tight, exploitative, or trying to exploit population poker. With our strategy is to basically makes them play pretty tight, makes some very disrespectful falls in all branches of the game tree, and still hope not to miss value. That's a strategy I've been using for crikey knows how long now. Best part of 15 years as a winning microstakes cash game player. Yeah, you could argue I've never progressed into higher stakes, but the other side of that coin is I've barely had a losing month in 15 years of cash game poker because it just works. I mean, styles come and go. People were telling me 12 years ago that you couldn't play like me and continue to be a winning player. And yeah, albeit I haven't moved up stakes, but I've made a decent amount of money from microstakes poker using this strategy for a long time. And unless games dry up, I expect this strategy to still work in 10 years' time. Um, because I'm using a strategy that's easily exploitable by good players, but good players tend to just pass through 25 and L and move up, leaving people like me and worse behind. So yeah, I think this strategy I deploy will always be one of the best ways to make the highest win rates in these games. And yeah, feel free to watch, comment, enjoy, needle, tell me I'm talking shit, whatever, all these things. But I am literally living proof that my methods work. I am living proof of that because I haven't changed very much in a long time. Maybe some sizing things have changed, occasional little frequency thing, but I'm still basically the same player I was 15 years ago, and I'm winning at the same rates I was winning at 15 years ago, despite poker apparently getting tougher. The start of the last video, I was too busy ranting about certain things. I'm trying to focus for the entirety of this video. 7, 9, 10 is an interesting flop. It's not one that I'm always going to want to bet, but when I do, I'm probably going to want to use a larger size, I think. And with this exact hand, we're happy bet using a larger size. We can easily call raises, as long as they're not fucking ginormous. And when we make our hand, we get to make larger value bets. On the 4 of clubs turn, complete break, we either go really big here or we check a lot. And versus a recreational player, I'm just going to go with the check and just try and realise. Probably going to bluff the river if he checks to us. Fortunately, he donks and saves us burning money on a bluff. Multi-way here against 2 VIP players. C-bet. 3-bet here. We picked up a cold call from a short stack in the big blind and the button call. Going to start with a really, really small bet. Willing to stack up against Das Sturk. This guy like just finds the donk lead on the turn. Makes me very, very unhappy. Not folding yet though. But I am deeply unhappy with it. We have like quarter pot left and we were just putting the rest in now and hoping. Expecting to lose when called a lot. I mean, he just folds anyway. I really don't like this. don't like this king queen. Um, I'm just gonna fold. Don't give a fuck. Just gonna fold. Check call donk, then bet against a player who's my read is just passive recreational. Just not gonna pay these guys off. Not doing it. Multi-way again. That seems reasonable. Called in 2 spots. We bet here and stack up against Clicquot and then worry about turf if he sticks around. I just think we have to go with our hand here. We just call though. I think we just call and then whatever. If we beat, we beat, I guess, in this spot. I think this guy can have like flush draws a lot. King X. So maybe we lose to this guy and still beat this guy. Oh, that is a pretty fucking diabolical river. Does this guy bet a king if we check? That's a question. To which I do not know the answer. And we beat both of them. Happy days. Right, we opened and then we face bet on this board. We're going to go with a check raise with our gut shot. He calls. I'm going to bet turn and then just give up, I think. Snap calls. And Worry's just going to check back an 8 here and we're going to. And he can also have like ace 4, ace 5. I don't like this, but we're doing it. I don't like it. Jack 9. You what, mate? You what? Called the flop with the jack and the 9? That was interesting. I mean, if he's going to turn it with the jack 9 there, then I really like my bluff because he's going to have other stuff that isn't jack 9 that's just going to have to fold. I am going to have to mute a moment because my mother is ringing me and I don't like to ignore her calls. mother just inquiring as to my health and well-being, which, after being called by Jack Nine on that 6-5 bluff, isn't as good as it was 2 minutes earlier. But as I said, I'm happy with the bluff. Wasn't happy doing it, but sometimes you've got to do it. And quite often, we can get 2 calls there from hands that just can't call the third barrel. Unfortunately for us, our opponent had what the cool kids call a non-existent combo, and won. So good for him. Open-ended backdoor flush draw on table 2. We shall be seeing a turn. This reg who I perceive to be shit bets our pot, which is whatever. Turning a spade. He bets really big. See, I think we should have some check raises here sometimes, but not versus big bet. I think we just have to call. And river the nuts. My fear now is that he's going to check back a lot. But I'm still going to go for a check raise because we have the nuts. Oh, the effective nuts. I do think he's going to check back quite a lot. Yeah. Rivered himself some showdown value and check back. Not surprised to see that. I think after a big bet's turn, probably have to check river. Just hope he finds another bet. So unfortunately, he rivered a pair because I think without that, maybe he fires a third bullet. I think if we couldn't check raise there, I think we could lead. If we had, say, instead of having a straight, if we somehow rivered 2 pairs or something like that didn't want to check raise. So if we had, say, a hand like 6-8 instead. Don't know how we'd call the turn with 6-8. 6-8 of spades. Maybe that would lead. Because that couldn't check raise. But I think when we have a can check raise, I think just going for the check raise is pretty good. Here we overlimp the 5s. Big ISO from the big blind. Recreational players still there. We would have called anyway. Now we're in the business of flopping a 5. Which we have not done. Not the greatest of flops for Daxerberg's range. You'd imagine it's going to be pretty high. He's going to have big pairs and then be very high card heavy too here. Imagine he'd want to check most of his range. When he does bet, I think he's going to be betting all the over pairs, but not betting all of his whiffed ace, king, ace, queen, etc. Do we want to bet or check back here? I mean, we kind of want to protect our hand, but against the type of hand we're trying to protect against, they're not going to fold. Certainly not versus small bet, which is the only size I would use. So I'm going to check. I'm trying to protect against 2 overcards and flush draws, etc. Flush draws are never folding, and if we only bet 1/3 pot, then 2 overcards likely aren't folding either. Could argue then that we're value betting against that range, but it's very thin. This guy just bets massive on the turn. Well, not massive, but pretty big in the context of a multi-way pot and no set, no bet. This dude's limping again. Yep, ace, jack, pocket, sevens. 0% chance that bet was getting through. 0%. He was probably getting called in 2 spots. Not c-betting the ace king multi-way. Still no idea what this dude's fucking limping range looks like. Hopefully we get to find out this hand by getting to showdown, or at least the hand going to showdown. It's big bet in the turn. I suspect it's just going to be a lot of small pairs in this limping range. I suspect. I would like to see it go to showdown, but looks like Asthmatic's just tank folding. Opening the Queen 9, getting a call from middle position, which tells me that we're not up against a skilled reg in this hand. Flop, interesting. It's a board that we're just never going to bet. But we do have two. This is the guy who called our check raise pretty fucking wide too. This could get wild, this hand. This hand might get wild. Because we're almost certainly going to be check raising him again. And taking a very similar line to what we took in the last time when he caught us, bluff caught us, after making a rather speculative flop call. It's going to stink to get raised here, but continuing to bet. Do we empty the clip against this guy? I mean, he has shown a propensity to call down pretty fucking wide. And we have a really bad hand to bluff with. We've got all the cards we want him to have. Think we just give up. I think we learned our lesson last time against this dude. There have been some very mischievous thoughts going through my mind here. They include me doing that. No, just be a massive punt, wouldn't it? It'd just be a massive punt. We're getting binned by that guy. We want to open the fives here. I think with the recreational player in the small blind, we probably do. They don't always open small pairs from early middle position. In fact, I routinely fold them. But if there's a decent sized whopper at the table with a reasonable number of big blinds, then I'll open them all. Deuce, 3, 4. I think we're going to start with a lead here. I want to see the turn, but I don't want to check call. And I don't think there's going to be. I mean, this guy can have some king X. This guy isn't over limping king X. Small blind, just completed. Very weak range. Gonna 3-bet the ace 10 off. Not happy about it, but we're gonna do it. Trivial fold now, of course. Go on, let's see some blood. No blood. Gonna bet tiny on the ace 9 king board. And call. We're gonna bet tiny again on the turn. Allow him to like continue calling with his 9x. He's slightly weaker king X. And we're gonna check back the river. Probably lose to like ace 7 offsuit. If we do lose. Instead we beat the king 5. Very nice. King queen on the button. Do I want to squeeze this hand? I don't think I do. I do want to call because I want Cantaloupe and Dastuk to come in. Flop a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw multi-way on table 1. I'm just going to check back. Don't want to see bet multi-way. This guy bombs c-bets. Only doesn't he's betting versus his miss c-bet, isn't he? Going to call and start bluffing here. On table 1. Really hope not to get shut out of the pot by a check raise here. That would hurt me. Offsuit 6 on the turn. If he blasts, we're just going to fold. Did expect to see the blast. And sadly, we're not going to bluff this spot. And we're certainly not going to call. Thoroughly disappointing flop on table 4. Let's get the reload ready. And an equally disappointing flop on table 1. When you're getting walks, you know it's a good chance you're in a bad game. And we just got to walk with ace king, which is disappointing, but nothing we can do about it. Defend the jack 6 suited. By way of 3-bet, I think. And we're going to c-bet. Not c-bet in the ace king. I think we're about to barrel off with the jack 6. Happy days. Seven, 8 suited. Tempt to squeeze. I'm not going to. It's just not a thing, is it? Or if it is, I'm not aware it's a thing. I'm getting very hungry. I'm trying to be healthy at the moment, so I can't wait to get stuck into my cornflakes and banana when we finish this video. I think we can fold the 7 high to the 8x ISO. Really want to play three-handed. Thankfully, someone's saying. Sadly, we've lost Cantaloupe. He's run off with about 75 of our big blinds, if not more. The fucker. Open ender. Guess we call. Problem is, we're just not likely to get paid if we hit. Easy check with our pocket fives. I think I'm going to have a little raise. That's grim. Call or 3-bet. Do we just run it? I think we get quite a lot of folds. Fuck it, just running it. I think we get quite a lot of folds versus like the hands that want a 3-bet this flop. It looks like bullshit to me. And if it's not, then it's time to get there against 2 pairs or a set or what have you. Say, do we just call it off here? We're ahead of some draws. This is a punt, I think. He has got the 2 pairs. Do we get there? No, we don't. That's unfortunate. That is a punt. That, sadly, is a punt. That is the nit spew. He had reasonable equity against his exact holding, I guess. See bet in the ace ace. So that's two stacks we punted over this trilogy, the pocket fives and the ace jack. And those are both damaging punts, I believe. I think the ace jack was worse than the fives. Although the fives wasn't good. Let's not pretend otherwise. But I think the ace jack was even worse. On video 2, I think it was. Problem with playing on Unibet too is you don't even have like the future game benefits of punting. Because I was just hitting ran as well. Because when I do play, and I don't play here often, I'm not really intending to. I use different screen names all the time. I just seen over these 3 videos. So doing that on your normal site where against um, against regs that you see every day, at least then they know you're capable of doing some weird random shit sometimes, and it adds a little bit of like useful meta. But in semi anonymous games, it's much less useful in that regard. Called one on this flop with second pair. We're not going to call any more bets against this guy, whom I read over the course of these 3 videos has been that he's quite nitty post flop. So we've got 6 more minutes, and I think now over the course of the 3 videos we are in losing territory, maybe a buy-in, but we punted 2. It just goes to show really how damaging it is, like to just make these big errors. They're really quite damaging. Because overall, I think I played pretty solid. Obviously not perfectly, not close to perfectly. None of us do, but I think I played reasonably well over the 3 videos. But we're going to end up losing because of 2 pots where we lost the maximum where we just didn't need to. And that really hurts. It's what holds a lot of us back from either moving up in my case or from even making money for some other people. Just the occasional big blunder. They're massively damaging. In a game where long term it's like a relatively like low edge game. If you think like if your win rate's anywhere from 0 to even 10 bigs, you're still dealing in like relatively low return on investment long term. So if we say like the net spend on our month is say over say like our total money put in pots over a month is I don't know 70,000, playing 25 and L for a good sample. And we're maybe making anything from 500 to 1,000 profit. And it's a low edge. There's not much of an ROI there. You know, that your ROI is probably going to be somewhere per like dollar invested. It's going to be something like between 5 and 10%, I would imagine. So these blunders are really costly, and I've made 2 of them. obviously in softer games where I normally play. Not saying these games have been tough because they haven't been, but they've certainly been nittier than the games I normally play in, by and large. Um, Obviously, when you're playing in softer games against weaker opponents, then your ROI is going to be higher. I know we don't usually talk about ROI in cash game terms, more of a tournament piece of terminology, but it's the same in cash. Like I said, if we're turning over 50k a month and we're making 500, then it's not much of an ROI, is it? You need to be really, really careful with your big pot punting. But anyway, I'm going to maximize this because it's better than showing my desktop at the end. We're going to sit out next. I'll show you leave next big blind at all tables, and then we'll see what damage. We started with 267, so we'll get the results over the trilogy. I think we're going to be in the 240s, unless something happens in the next few hands. So I think we're going to have lost about a buy. I think it feels like we've lost about a buy-in. We don't want to see desktop, but we do want to see tables. There we go. So we're down to the last two hands of the video, of the series, trilogy, whatever you want to call it. Last hand. Oh, could be a good one. No, it's not. We just take down the blinds. So what did we end up at? 229. Oh, actually, we've lost 38. So we punted two buy-ins and we've lost on the session 38 euros. So it would have been a 12 euro profit if it wasn't for those. Now, you can't look at that, of course. But nevertheless, it just goes to show that mistakes are really, really damaging. Like I said, that the pocket fives was definitely a punt. Now, the ace jack, people are going to be like, well, they're fine, it's just a cooler edge, whatever. But I've gone against the principles I typically play by, which is when people raise post flop, overfold. So um, we had the pocket fives. I've been raised and then I've been three bet on the flop, and I've just got two fives. Didn't need to punt 25 euros there, so put that 25 euros on that stack there. We lost 12 over the session. Then the ace jack, where I just knew the guy wasn't bluffing, called anyway, lost. A couple of those check raises we did against that weaker player, which in theory are probably okay, in practice not that good. And all these things add up. You know, when I'm playing well, I don't do those things. Um, when I'm playing a game, and yeah, it is a bit nitty. I am being a bit nitty, and maybe being a touch harsh on myself overall, because overall I felt like we played there for the best part of 2.5 hours over the thingy. And two pots have costed us like a winning session. Well, that's going to happen when you make mistakes. And the key is to try and make less and less mistakes. And I'm not happy with how I played, but I'm not disappointed either. Overall, I think did okay. Didn't make money. That's life. Right, we're out of here. Take care, everybody. As always, fuck the Tories and anyone who supports them. And we'll see you next week with some more videos, probably. Bye bye for now.